Shalom, family, and welcome back. This is Brother Maurice with part 8 to truth about Moses, Aaron, the Levites, and the Levitical priesthood. In the last video, we can see that the Father was instructing Moses of what he needed to teach the people to be ready to meet him and covenant with the Father at Mount Sinai. And now, the last thing that he had to do. We're in the book of remembrance of Moses, in Moses chapter 9, verse number 15. And lastly, they must learn and practice righteousness in all their ways. For my people are to be a righteous people, and they speak righteousness, and they must live in righteousness, and they are to be empowered over evil through righteousness, and they are to be joined with the host of heaven and earth in creation by their righteousness. So now we're supposed to be joined in righteousness to the host of heaven and also earth in creation. So we're also supposed to be joined, family, with the holy watchers, who are the Kadeshi, because they surround us and they provide for us, even though the people have been taught to forget them. Now, on this past Sabbath, we celebrated the day of celebration of Icar, which is one of the holy feast days. Now, the feast days that are given in the Bible have been corrupted. And in order to get the correct feast days and the understanding of those feast days and the timing of these feast days and celebration days, we must look to the books of remembrance. And this is why the Father told us in Malachi chapter 3, verse 16, that this book of remembrance was going to be written for us to be able to find these old paths so that we could return back to knowing our Father. Now, we celebrated the celebration of Icar, and I'm going to read something here that gives us some information about this celebration, because you have to understand the holy watchers. And in the book of remembrance of Melchizedek, in Melchizedek 10, verse 82, it says, "And I can see that this feast of Icar truly represents a vital step in bringing many conditions of Eden into the temporal world. Because in Eden, all of the Kadeshi took care of our first parents. The Kadeshi are the holy watchers. So it said in Eden, all of the holy watchers took care of our first parents. Listen to this. And fed them in abundance according to their need. And animals were their friends." So the Kadeshi is everything, family, that surrounds us. The holy watchers, they surround us. The holy watchers are in the grass, the earth, the plants, the trees, the rocks, the clouds, the sun, the moon. They're everywhere, and they all provide for us. But we lost how they provide for us, and we no longer have free access to their provisions. Now, during the Feast of Icar, one of the things that we did, or you actually do during this feast, is you plant seeds for this season. And so now you're out there with the birds, and you're out there with the insects, and all of the holy watchers, or all of the Kadeshi, they come into play with providing the provisions for our life. And that's why our Father created these things. But today, we don't really rely on them. We rely on the fallen watchers, which are known as the Decadarchi. Now, let me read you something about the fallen watchers, because this is something that we must understand. In the book of remembrance of Achi, in 1 Achi, chapter 12, verse number 55. Now, some of you might be asking, well, who is Achi? Achi, you may hear him as the brother of Jared, but he is the grandson to Shem. So he did many writings that are now coming back to us. But in the first book of Achi, chapter 12, verse 55, it says, "And it came to pass that all the Decadarchi were given great power by the abominable religions, insomuch that they ruled the world with the kingdom of Semihaza," that's Satan. "And there were lyings, and murders, and sorcery, and plagues, and great haughtiness that prevailed in abundance upon the earth among the children of men." Now listen to this, because we need to understand what Satan and the fallen angels have done to us. We don't understand the people today that we are captives of theirs. And we no longer rely on the holy angels, but now we heavily rely on the fallen angels. It says, "And the Decadarchi, or the fallen angels, were empowered with such greatness that they entered in to surround the life of each person." Now listen what they do, or what they are doing for us. "And they fed them." Now you get your food from the supermarkets. You go to the restaurants and they cook your food. You don't go to the Air Kadeshi and you don't plant your own food. You don't rely on the insects. You don't rely on the bees to pollinate the plants and everything. You don't grow your own food. You don't work by the sweat of your own brow with the use of Ir Kadeshi. Now you're using the fallen angels, the Decadarchi. And it says, "And they fed them and lighted up their way." Now you can just go into your house and flick a switch, and the fallen watchers provide you their light. They lighted up your way. "And they clothed them." Now you go to the store and to the markets and you buy all your clothes. And through these clothes, a lot of our clothes are actually deteriorating and destroying our bodies, because no longer are we using 100% cotton anymore. No longer are we using linen, which are frequency rich clothing. Now we are using other types of materials that are degrading our body. So it says, "And they clothed them." And it says, "And carried them about." So now today we don't use the Ir Kadeshi, which are also the animals, and we don't get on a horse and ride from point A to point B. Now the fallen angels, they're the ones that provide our transportation. And now we have cars, motorcycles, automobiles, airplanes. They carried them about. It says, "And defended them against their enemies." And now what do we have? War, with all of these weapons of destructions that kill. "And they spoke for them." Now, what do? We go to the polls and we vote in people into these different offices, and they speak for us today. But everything that they do, all the laws they pass, the majority of them are not for us. It's for them to line their pockets. "And they spoke for them. Yea, they even tilled their land." So now today we don't go out there and manually go out there to till the land. Now we go and we buy all of this equipment, all this motorized equipment to use to till the land. It says, "And planted their crops." And now we don't actually physically go out there and place the seed inside of the soil to plant our crops. Now they have all this machinery that does all of this. It says, "And nourished them." But the nourishment that they give us is not nourishment that actually is going to heal our bodies. They're giving us all of this fake food. It says, "And nourished them that they grew, and they cooked and prepared and preserved the food of all the wicked." And once again, the Nephilim were seen upon the earth as it was in the days of Noah. Shalom, family.